Howdy y'all, my name's Corey and welcome back to my top 100 games of all time. Alright, the first 10 are down, time to move on. There's going to be a master list of every game that we've done so far at the end of every video. So if you want to see the full list, wait till the end of the video and you'll see everything we've done so far. But moving on to my number 90. We are sticking with the classics. I have learned on the back part of this list, I have so many classics back here. All of the new games I've noticed are much further towards the front of the list, more towards my top 50 or so. There's a few new ones sprinkled in here and there, but here at the back part of the list, I've noticed that it is classics, and this is no joke. Number 90 is Dixit. It doesn't get much more family gamer classic than this, if that makes sense, because I think we all started with family games like Monopoly and Trouble and things like that, but then as we became gamers, our family games became more things like Dixit. Dixit, first off, what draws us all in is the art. The art is absolutely gorgeous. Every expansion, every version, everything about Dixit just is beautiful from start to finish. It's got that like family level art that's still gorgeous. Like there's nothing about it is too far above like something that children could enjoy, but it's still something that adults can go, oh my god, that's just beautiful. Dixit's a gorgeous game. The gameplay is so fast yet so fun. The idea of laying cards out there, one person giving a clue, and trying to pick a clue that is just good enough for people to guess, but just not good enough for someone not to guess. Basically, every round you're trying to get one person not to guess correctly is the best way to do it. It's crazy how that mechanic can take you so far, especially when playing with people you know, like your best friends, your family, significant others, children, things like that. People that really know you. So you can start having those inside clues, those inside jokes. The people that really only know you the best could possibly know this one, so one person is left guessing. Things like that, really creating a meta inside the game. And if you play multiple games back to back, which you definitely can, this game is so quick, it's like a 30-minute game, that you can really start to create a meta over a night of playing. Dixit is something that I will always like to bring out as a nice filler game or a nice little break in between heavy games. If you have a long game night where you play 2 or 3 hour games, like you'll play one, time for a little break, and then play another. And that little break, like where you're getting food or something, it's really nice to break out something like Dixit, which is really light, really lighthearted. You're going to laugh, and you're just going to decompress from all that heavy thinking and heavy strategy from other games, and just have a great time playing Dixit. It's one of my favorite to bring out as a nice breather game. So, my number 90, the classic Dixit. Oh, I forgot. I gotta push it. That one was okay. So I've just noticed something in the shelves behind me. Well, you're starting to see like holes and gaps in the games because I've had to pull the games out and set them aside to do this list. I'm wondering if any of you in future videos will start to try to guess which games are the holes that you see into what games are going to be on this list because of the holes you see. I'm really curious if anybody's noticed that, or if you're going to notice that moving forwards and be like, oh, Jamaica's not there anymore. It must be on this list. I'm just curious who notices that, because I just noticed it myself and I was like, little hints there, little hints. But let's move on to my number 89. We're sticking with classics, and we're sticking with the game that arguably got me into the hobby and probably got so many of you into the hobby as well. I can only be talking about Katon. Settlers of Katon, Katon, whatever name you know it by, it got so many of us in the hobby. And I will fully admit, I have no problem telling you right here and now, this is on my list because of nostalgia. It is here because of the importance that it had in my gaming life and bringing me into this hobby. I'm very curious. Please leave in the comments below, what game would you say brought you into this hobby? Because I'm your prototypical Katon got me here. I played Katon World on my computer well before I ever owned the game. I played it for the first time, loved it. I'll be honest, I was so broke back then. Me and my wife had just got married. We barely had 2 pennies to rub together. We couldn't afford to buy a board game, but I had my old computer from when I lived with my parents, and I could play Katon World Online. So that's what I did. And then when we finally got the money, I bought Katon. Fell in love with it, and it just got me into the game. I watched it played on Will Wheaton's Tabletop, which I think so many of us also watched. That also helped get me into the hobby. But it's just nostalgia for me. And I will say, it has some wonderful pieces to it. For those of you who are bashing Katon, yes, you're just trading wood for sheep. Yes, you're just laying roads. Yeah, you're just trading points back and forth. But I really fell in love with the negotiation of the trading. I love I need some wood. Here's 2 brick. No, you don't want 2 brick? All right, well, all I have is a handful of brick. What about 4 brick? And they're like, nope. All right, you drive a hard bargain. 6 brick. And all of a sudden, you're giving up your entire hand for 1 sheep or whatever you need. I really love the negotiation tactics of it. And just the idea of being able to steal points from each other, whether it be longest road, biggest army, whatever, things like that. I really enjoyed the aspects of it, and it really helped bring me into this hobby. And will it fall off the list next year or the year after that? Probably. I'm not going to say it's going to stick around on top 100. It's definitely here due to nostalgia and the importance it had in my gaming life. Maybe this is the last year it's here, maybe it's not. I guess next year you'll have to wait and see. But for now, my number 89 is Katon. Alright, so let's talk about Villainous. Disney, Marvel, Star Wars. Let's talk about it. I'm a huge Villainous fan. I love Villainous. Every single year at Gen Con, I rush and I get whatever new Villainous is out for every version. I have every single bit of Villainous ever made. I have everything for every Villainous version. I love Villainous as a game. I love the idea of your realm and going to different areas. I love the idea of fading each other and the simplicity of having your bad guys or your villains tailored specific to you as to how you're going to win the game, the goals of winning the game. I love how they're tailored. I love how your fate deck is the heroes of your movie realm, whatever it is. I just love the idea of it. And who doesn't love the IPs? You've got Marvel, you got Star Wars, you got Disney. Who doesn't love the IP of that? It's fantastic. With that being said, most of the time, I would group all of my Villainesses together the way I did the Pandemics and say, this is the Villainous slot. Not with this series. All 3 versions of this game, I think that they are distinct enough in their additional features for me to be able to say that I like them significantly enough, more or less than the others, to make them 3 separate entries. And I will also go ahead and give you a spoiler. All 3 versions are in my top 100 because I love Villainous that much. So right here at my number 88, we have our first Villainous. What do you think it is? The answer is Marvel Villainous. Now, this does not mean I hate Marvel Villainous. People always think I hate Marvel Villainous when I tell them it's my least favorite of the 3 Villainesses. However, it is still my number 88 all time. That is very high. I very much love Marvel Villainous. It is fantastic. 2 reasons that this one pushes it down below the other 2 for me. 1, I'm not a Marvel guy. I know, hate me. I hear your fingers typing in the comments, I know. But Corey, you're a geek, you're a nerd. You're supposed to love superheroes and comic books and Marvel. I'm sorry, but I just don't. I never have been a superhero guy. Like, I like them. I don't dislike them. They're fine. I like them. But I don't love them the way some people do. I'm not a superhero guy. I've got my favorites. I've got the people I like. I love some of the movies. Comic books can be cool. I don't collect them, but I'll look at them and be like, wow, that's pretty neat. I like them. I don't love them. That's the long story short. I like them. I don't love them. So that's one thing that brings it down for me. The other thing is the deck that brings out the group objectives, right? The fate deck that brings out the group fate that affects everyone. Well, I don't like how each of those are distinct in the fact that it's a group objective, but it hurts one person the most. And the fact that one person seems to get completely screwed over, and other people can just kind of ignore it a little bit and just kind of push you further and further down. I don't like the group objective aspect, and it's a good idea, but I just don't like that it hurts one person more. I wish it was just a group objective that hurt everyone the same, not one person more. That's a big one that pushes it down for me. And then the theme and the IP, I'm not a huge Marvel guy. However, it still uses the Villainous system. I do love that in this version, I guess is the best way to put it, you've got so many different heroes versus villains, if that makes sense. Like, every single person that comes out is iconic. In some of the games, in some of the versions, like in Disney, they have to really stretch it and be like, ugh, this movie really only had one good guy. Let's start throwing in the little side characters as the heroes in your Fate deck. And like, they really have to stretch it. Not in this universe. We all know every bad guy, there's 100 superheroes that can go with it. Every superhero, there's 100 bad guys that can go with it. And they're all iconic, and we all recognize them, and they're all super cool. So that is definitely something that has going for this one, is your deck is full of characters you know and love, and your Fate deck is full of characters you know and love. Every single card that comes out seems to ring true with you somewhere, seems to just light you up in a way that you're like, oh, it's that guy, oh, it's that thing, it's super cool. And then the Villainous aspect of moving your guy and doing the specific things, covering certain things. It's Villainous, it's super fun, but my number 88 is Marvel Villainous. Let's see how high the other two are. Oh, I'm getting so good at the spin, but not good enough. So close. I'm not apologizing, but I'm just going to keep saying, here at the back end of the list, we continue our tour of the classics with my number 87. Carcassone. We've all played Carcassone. Everyone knows what Carcassone is. Probably one of, if not the first tile, layer, flipper, whatever word you want to say, you ever played. Carcassone just rings true. Everything about it is just fantastic. I love building the cities. Building the cities in Carcassone is probably the main reason I love this game. And just watching the little tiny baby cities happen the moment you start it. And then it seems like every game there becomes a fight for one mega city. We are over here creating every borough of New York in one city every game, it feels like. I don't think I've ever played a game of Carcassone where in the dead center of the table there is just not a massive sprawling city that's like large over here and then tubes over here and then gets large over here again. I love watching the city just grow in Carcassone. And so many people just like kind of ignore the roads and everything because they're just like, I gotta make this city bigger. I have to control this city. It's so good. I love it. The only expansion I actually have is the tower expansion, which is just a way of life expansion because it holds all the tiles. That's really all it does. But there are so many different versions of Carcassone. There are so many different expansions. This is another one of those games that I will just say, there's no way, it's impossible that there's not a version out there that you can't like. Like, there's so many. I can't believe that there's not a single version that you're not like, yeah, I like this. There's way too much just content with this game to not enjoy something about it. And it's a classic. I give respect where respect is due, in my opinion. Like, if you are a classic game that millions have loved, there's probably a good reason for that. Like, I highly doubt that millions of people like a game because it's bad. Like, if millions of people like it, it's probably at least decent. Carcassone, that's my number 87. More classics. Sorry, not sorry. We're gonna... That works better than the spin, but the spin's so much cooler. Alright, so we're tabletop gamers. We're not just board gamers, we're tabletop gamers. And that includes RPGs. And the biggest RPG of all is Dungeons & Dragons. I bet all of you right now think I'm about to say Lords of Waterdeep, but I'm not. Yet. Spoiler. But no, Dungeons & Dragons is a huge part of what we do as gamers. And with that being said, my number 86... I had to make sure I was on 86, I am. Number 86 is a game to me that every time I play it, feels like I'm in the middle of a Dungeons & Dragons session, and we've all gone to the local tavern, and we're all goofing around, and it's time to close down for the night, and we're drinking, and we're gambling, and we're partying. But that's one of our favorite things about playing D&D is going to the tavern. And I think this game is basically a let's go to the tavern D&D edition. I'm talking about the Red Dragon Inn. Basically the entire game is you go to an inn, you go to the tavern, you buy drinks, you bet gold, you steal gold, you fight. And the entire thing is basically player elimination, which most people don't like in games, but this plays so quickly and so fast and so furiously that you're just like, boom, 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 I win. Like, it's over so fast, but like, you're just over here. It's a screw you game. It's like, you don't get money, I'll take your money, I give you beer, you're knocked out. Like, I just love it. It's literally just, like, you almost want to take the card and throw it at the person instead of playing it. You're like, and you take this! Like, I love it. And it's like, I almost want to play this in my D&D campaigns. And like, when we go to a tavern and we're shutting down for the night, be like, alright, and now we play Red Dragon Inn. Like, that's just what it feels like to me when I play it. And like, imagine playing this in character as your Dungeons & Dragons character. Like, all of the characters come to the table at the same time. And now you're playing Red Dragon Inn. And whatever happens in the game happens in the world. That just sounds fun to me. And, like, everything. I actually might try that now. That sounds incredible. But, like, that's how I feel when I play this game. Is, like, we've come to the tavern during a D&D game. And now we're just gonna have shenanigans. I don't know if this game will be for you. But it's definitely for me. I enjoy the game. Now, I'm okay if you pause the video right here and go to Google and type in how much content is there for Red Dragon Inn. If you don't know, you know how games will have big box solutions for all of their games so that you can put everything in one nice big box? Red Dragon Inn has to have multiple big boxes for all of their stuff. If you have everything Red Dragon Inn has ever made, I need you to tell me. First, I need you to answer to me why. Why do you need that much? And as a gamer, believe me, this isn't even my whole collection. There's more over there, and there's more over there, and there's more over there. But I still don't understand. There's so much content to this game. It's overwhelming how much content there is to this game. And they're still making more. I don't know. It's crazy. Also, if you own everything to this game, I need to know how you make all your money. Because that's a lot of content. But I will never own all that content. This is just the base game. But I love it. Red Dragon Inn. Maybe you'll like it too. Number 85 is a game that I backed on Kickstarter. All it took for me was the title and the art, and I was hooked. I'm talking about, boom, In the Hall of the Mountain King. In the Hall of the Mountain King is gorgeous. I love the theme. I love the name. I very quickly loved the way the game played. Right after I played it, during playing it, reading about playing it. Mostly, I love the polyominoes. I love trying to fit them on the board exactly how you want them, trying to get to the towers, trying to score points that way, trying to work your way towards the middle to score more points. I love the Tetris of trying to get the polyominoes in place. And so many of my friends, one in particular, seems to love to block me. His entire goal is to lay his polyominoes in a way is like, Corey's wanting to go that way. Nope. Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It infuriates me when that happens. But it's still fun. I love the polyominoes. I love laying out your path. I love trying to get it where you want it to go. This is the beginning of a series. The sequel to this one, Fall of the Mountain King. I also backed it on Kickstarter. I received it like a year ago, maybe longer. Whoever else backed it can tell me for sure in the comments. But I have yet to get it to the table. I have this bad thing about my games that I'm ashamed to admit, but it's the truth. I will buy and back so many games at a time. Let's just say I get 10 games in whatever amount of time, right? 10 games. What'll typically happen is I'll get 4 or 5 of them played relatively quickly. We'll get them to the table pretty quick. And then I'll have 3 or 4 that we'll get to in a moderate amount of time. And then I tend to have like 2 to 3 that by the time the next group of 10 comes in, they weren't played, and now they've been pushed to the back of the pile because the next 10 came in, and then 2 or 3 of those will get pushed to the back of the pile until the next 10 come in, and this little train just keeps going on until I have this enormous pile of the last 2 games of 10 that I have just not played. Fall of the Mountain King fell into that trap. It was one of the 2 or 3 at the end of the pile that is now sitting in the ginormous pile of the games I've just not got to, and that makes me sad because I love In the Hall of the Mountain King. So I know I'll love Fall of the Mountain King. I know I will. I'm excited to play it. I need to put it at the top of the pile to make it a priority because I need to get it played because I love this one so much. My number 85, In the Hall of the Mountain King. And hopefully by next year's list, Fall of the Mountain King. My number 84, it's not as classic as like Katon or Carcassone, but it's definitely gotten enough age on it now that it's starting to become a little classic to everybody. It's the game that I tend to use for all of my friends as an introductory game that I think can handle more than Katon, Carcassone, Ticket to Ride. They're ready for that next level, and they really need an introductory game to get their teeth into and really start to strategize a bit more. And for me, that's Small World. People love Small World. The moment I lay out all the races and all of the different abilities, or whatever you call them, factions, I don't know, and the fact that they realize you can combine them so many different ways, they fall in love. You can play diplomatic orcs and berserking halflings and heroic giants and just so many different races. You can play commanding dwarves. Like, there's so many, I can't even remember them all. You can play spirit trolls. Like, there's so many different things that you can combine. Getting berserking orcs, first off, is broken, but for those of us that played the game enough to know what the really, really good ones are, the moment you see them fall onto the board, you go, I'm going to let y'all know that one's really good, but I would also like to have it. And then, literally, I almost always try to give the broken one to whoever the new player is, just so they just get that little feeling of, oh, this is what this game can be. And I'm like, This game is an awesome introductory game, in my opinion, for those friends of yours that can handle just a little bit more, and you really want to get them into the hobby quick and fast. Small World, I think, is the perfect one to hit the table. You want to be careful about playtime, however. This one can go a bit long, depending on who you play with and the type of people you play with. If they really get bogged down by A&P like this can definitely stretch on for a while. So you really want to warn your players when they get to the table that this one is not going to be some quick 30-minute, 1-hour game. This one can take a little while, but if they're ready for it, this can be an awesome introductory game for them. Small World, I love it. I could play this game all the time. It's one of my favorites. Clearly, top 100. Good push. You probably weren't expecting to get 2 of the 3 Villainous in the same top 10. When I was making my top 100, I also didn't expect to have 2 of the 3 Villainesses in the same top 10. In my head, there was a very clear pecking order. 1, 2, 3. And in my head, there was also a very clear 1, gap, 2, gap, 3. Apparently, the gap between 2 and 3 is nowhere near as large as I thought it was, especially once my final ranking came out. And I even made some adjustments and moved stuff up and down after I did my final rankings. I was like, no, let's move some things around a little bit. Still wound up being this close. So my second favorite Villainous and my number 83 all time, Star Wars Villainous. So if you've not put 2 and 2 together yet, my favorite Villainous is Disney, but Star Wars is number 2, and I absolutely adore it. The new Darth Maul just came out at Gen Con, and I am so excited to get it to the table. Darth Maul is my favorite Star Wars villain, and honestly, the new Darth Maul expansion might have this one go further up next year's list because I love it so much. I love Star Wars Villainous. Adding the ships was cool, but I didn't love it. I like it. Again, this is just like Marvel. It's the reason I think I like Disney the best is it's so clean and so pure. Star Wars adding the ships was fun. I liked it, but I didn't love it. But the thing I do love about this one is the villains and how they play. How particular each one is to each villain. What you're trying to accomplish. I love it. My favorite to play is Grievous. Trying to collect all the different lightsabers. I find that so enjoyable and so satisfying as you collect them. Star Wars Villainous is wonderful. I love the theme of this one better. Again, I feel like I'm going to get so many haters from this video. I'm not a giant Marvel fan. I like them, don't love them. I'm also not a giant Star Wars fan. I like it. I don't love it. I like Star Wars. I was obsessed with it as a kid, but then as I became an adult, I just fell out of love with it as much. And now I just really, really enjoy it. I really enjoy Star Wars. I watch the movies. I like it. I like everything about it. I've read all the books as well, I don't want to say all because I'm sure I missed some. I read a lot of the books as a kid and I loved it. So, I don't know. I think this one also clicks and scratches some nostalgia for me. But the IP now doesn't hit as hard. but I still really like it. It still uses the Villainous system, which is wonderful. I mean, I don't want to harp on it all day. I already talked about it, but the Villainous system, if you've not played it, it's so clean, it's so pure, it's beautiful. The Fate deck is awesome. Villainous is just one of my favorites, and 2 of them are in the same top 10. All right, this is your prediction time. This is number 83. And I believe Marvel was number 88. 83 and 88. Very close together. Only 5 spots apart. How high do you think Disney Villainous is for me? Comment down below. I won't give any spoilers, but I want to know exactly how high you think Disney Villainous is for me. How soon do you think you're going to be seeing it? I'm just curious. I don't want to give any hints. Maybe it'll be on the next list. Maybe it's in my top 10. I don't know. Well, I do know. But I want to see what you think. Just give me your best guess, and at the end, I will comment on the video that Disney Villainous shows up in, who commented the closest guess. I will leave a comment with their YouTube name, who got the closest guess. So go ahead and comment down below right now, where do you think Disney Villainous falls for me? But as for now, number 83 is Star Wars Villainous. Really, really love it. And depending on the IP, maybe you love Star Wars, maybe you love Marvel. There's something in Villainous for everyone, I feel like. So maybe your favorite will be whatever IP is your favorite. But there you go. Try it out. That was a good push. Alright. So if you watch my Gen Con vlogs, 2 of my best friends in this world are Lucas and Scott, who went with me to Gen Con. Go check it out if you've not checked out my vlogs. Most of you probably found my channel through my vlogs. Not trying to just fish for comments here, but I love talking to you guys. Comment down below how you found my channel. Was it through my Gen Con vlogs? Was it through another path? I'm just curious. I love to know how people found my channel. But anyway, those 2 are my best friends in the world, and they are also my gamer friends. They both have game collections. I definitely am more the board gamer of the group. Both of them are more RPG oriented, but they both have plenty of board games themselves. So in my top 100, you will find I don't own all my top 100 games because me, Scott, and Lucas try not to buy the same games because most of our gaming is done together. So I don't need to buy a game if Scott owns it because he'll bring it to game night. I don't need to buy a game if Lucas owns it because he'll bring it to game night. Or we'll go to his place and play games. Whatever. So, my number 82, I don't own. Lucas owns this one. This is Night of the Ninja. Night of the Ninja is an awesome party game. I love it. I love the team aspect, and then my favorite part of the game is the individual player, the Ronin. Every time I look at my secret identity card and I see the Ronin, sometimes Lucas, because me and him know each other so well, immediately knows it's me because he sees how excited I get and he's like, okay, Corey's the Ronin, got it. Because I get so excited because it's my favorite role to play. I love having the different teams going at each other, and then when you're the Ronin, you're just trying to throw pure chaos into the mix. You're like, no, here you go. No, here you go. I love just the pure chaos mode. And then when you are on a team, it's almost like you're not really even trying to figure out who's on each team. You're just trying to find the Ronin. It's like, we can't know anything until we figure out who here is just full of crap. Like, everyone at the table is just in agreement. We must find this person. And I love it. It's so much fun. If you can have 5 or 7 players so the teams can be even with the +1 for the Ronin, the game just really shines and comes through. I typically have a problem with games that require specific player counts to be good. In this game, I very particularly find it to be 5 or 7. But if you have those player counts, this game will always be in our stack to choose from. Because that's how, I'm sure most of us are the same. We see how many players we have, we create a stack of 5 or 6 games, and we go, which one of these we're going to play, or which few of these are we going to play. Our stack with 5 to 7 will almost always have Night of the Ninja. It's such an enjoyable game. Let me know if you've heard of it. Lucas picked it up at Gen Con, I think, God, in 21? Or was it 19? It was one of the two, I can't remember. He got it at Gen Con, and I'll be honest, when he first got it, I was jealous because I really wanted it. And like I said, we don't buy the same games. I was so jealous when he got it, but I'm not gonna buy the game when I can buy other games because Lucas owns this one. I'm very happy it's a part of our friend group, but I'm not gonna lie, I wish it was in my collection. But there we go, Night of the Ninja. Imaginary push. Alright, let's round out this 10 of my top 100. But before we do, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. Be sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell because we've got plenty more of these lists coming and tons of more content after that, and I want you to get notified every time my videos post. But thanks for watching, guys. Let's finish this top 10 up right here. With my number 81, it's another game I don't own. It's another game that Lucas owns. This is Game of Thrones, the board game. So Game of Thrones, the board game, is an IP that I love. I love Game of Thrones. I just finished watching Season 2 of House of the Dragon. It's fantastic. Me and my wife love everything about Game of Thrones. It's wonderful. So I love this IP, and I love this game. I love the mechanics of the game. I love the secret bidding of the power. I love the cards. I love the wildlings attacking. I love the board control. This game is fantastic. I only have one thing about this game that stops it from being higher for me, and that's the length of it. It is a long game, and the more players you add, the longer it gets. And the more inexperienced players you have, the longer it gets. Some of you who have played this game are not going to believe me when I tell you I played a 5-hour session of this one time, and I wanted to pull my hair out. We played with a bunch of new players. We played with a bunch of people who have AMP problems, and I love the game, but that one session really burnt me. And I feel like that happens with a lot of us, is we have one session of a game that really burns us, and we have to return to that game and have a good session to remember what's great about it. But this is a fantastic game, but the length of it can really get to me sometimes. But the IP is great, the gameplay is great. This is one I've actually been itching to get back to the table recently. Like, I really would like to, in the next couple of months, get this one back to the table because it's such a good game, and I really want to recapture that love I have of it. And with House of the Dragon season just ending, I'm really on that Game of Thrones kick right now, so I feel like if this game is going to really shine for me again and maybe even climb this list next year, right now is the perfect time to play it, is when I've got that love of the universe going, I've got the itch to play the game. So one more playthrough right now I think would really solidify it for me as really fantastic, or fall off the list completely. Right now though, I think 81 is a very comfortable spot for it. Very curious to see if I get it to the table where it lands next year. So stick around. Next year, maybe you'll get to find out. And there's 81 to 90. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm excited to knock out the next 80 in this series. We're only 20% of the way through. There's so many more great games to come. Once again, leave a comment down below. I'm curious if you have any of these games, if they're in your top 100, top 10, whatever, which one of them was your favorite. I love talking to you guys in the comments. It's one of my favorite things about making videos, is getting your feedback and talking to you about games. Because, I love to talk about games so much. I love this hobby. I know you guys love this hobby. Everything about it to me is about spending time with people and talking to people. While I love the games themselves, my favorite thing about gaming is hanging out and talking to people. That's really why I got into gaming, is it's such a wonderful way to spend time with both friends, strangers, whoever. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye!